Hey everybody, you're listening to the Hisessions Hawaii podcast where we talk about everything local and beyond. I'm John Yamasato, your host, and joining me today is Mr. Kaoshima Bukuro.
How's it?
Devon Nekoba.
Hello. I want.
You want intro music?
Can play some music.
Okay.
It'll make it so much more interesting.
Alright. Before we begin, let me remind our listeners of all the ways they can stay in touch with the show. There's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at Hisessions. Of course, you can go to SoundCloud, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts to listen to the podcast. And of course, you can email us at hisessions@yahoo.com. If you'd like to help the show get more music on the channel, please go to patreon.com and donate. There you'll get more involved with the show and help determine who and what is filmed. I'd like to thank 3 new patrons that we had since over the break. We had a week off. Mike, Deborah, and Kaliko. Thank you so much for being supportive. Kupukupu Landscaping. Can't speak enough about them. They are landscape architects. You can call Kevin Yokomura at 808-722-8685 for a free estimate. You can also go to kupukupulandscaping.com. I really like this.
Right?
This is
I'm
nice.
telling you, man.
So much better.
And we'd also like to thank Fort Ruger Market. We did have it's Smoke Meat Fridays, as you all know, but we didn't do Smoke Meat today. I still had my Rugerlicious bowl.
I had the char siu plate. It was really good.
Oh yeah, the char siu plate was good.
Oh no, yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. And you can find Devin.
Kamu really liked this food because he ate the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like very quickly.
Find Devin at Kumu 94.7. And you can go to highlifeclothing.com to find Kyle. And now, without further ado, I introduce our guest, Mr. Kamuela Kahoano. One of the best guys around. And man, that was beautiful. Super talented individual. So Kamu, you know what distinction you have that barely anybody has?
What is that? The
When
glasses?
I bring you up to my wife, you get a positive response.
Really?
Yeah. So say
Okay, wait. What about us?
I will use an example. Okay. I will give you an example. If I go A Stace, Devin called, she'll be like, yeah, what he want? That would be her response, right? But then today I go, I'm going to do the podcast, and Kamuela Kahoano, she's like, oh, Kamuela, tell him I said hello. She's like pleasant, you know?
They can sniff out things like good intro music
That's
long before it happens.
Yeah. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Not only that,
That's an achievement I
She's
didn't.
drugged up too right now too. And she
Yeah.
Is she drugged up?
said to tell you
Well,
hi.
I mean, sort of, but she just had nose surgery.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
what
That is no joke.
Yeah.
That's what you had.
the one that I had?
Yeah, the one that you had.
Oh, dude, I'm so sorry.
But hers, I don't think was as bad as yours, because only one side.
Huh? The only one?
Yeah, one side. I mean, they did 2 sides, but only one side they had to do a lot of stuff or something. I don't know. She seems fine. And she's tough, man. I told her she's kind of like Wolverine, because, you know,
Wolverine.
when we had it, so she had C-section both times for our 2 kids. And normally they're like, oh, you're going to be kind of sore for a bit, so they're warning me, right? Because now I got to pick up all the slack and take care of these babies and stuff. But the day after her C-section, she was walking around and doing stuff. And
Walking around?
Yeah, walking around, dude.
I think that's the nicest compliment you could ever give your wife.
She's Wolverine?
Yeah, you're like Wolverine.
Yeah. She is, dude.
But you may want to explain for the people listening on the podcast not everybody knows
Well,
who Wolverine is. So.
Oh, how could you not know who Wolverine is?
Or how Wolverine affects nose surgery.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like what is
Wolverine is an X-Men. He's
X-Men.
a part of the X-Men.
Yeah.
He's a superhero. One of the best superheroes, I would say. And his body, first of all, his skeleton is made out of adamantium, which is a strong metal. But besides that, he also has regenerative properties in that he heals very quickly.
So that's what you meant.
So that's
Not
what
that
I meant.
Your wife is like a berserker and very hairy. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to make sure you qualify that, bro.
Yeah,
That's true.
Have claws.
You can't just say she's Wolverine.
And to clarify that, the adamant, he heals faster than the adamantium can take him out.
Yeah.
Right? Because otherwise he can't harbor that in his
Oh,
body.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Don't ask me how I know that.
Oh, you guys make me feel like I'm in jellies or something.
Kind of wish I was a jelly.
Let the geeking begin.
Yeah. Hey, the AC doesn't feel that cold, yeah?
No, if it
It's
gets
kinda
hotter,
warm
we can
here.
pause and turn it back
Okay,
on or
okay,
something,
okay.
But
Okay, so Kamuela is a musician, dad, all around cool guy. You write a lot of music, play a lot of styles.
Yeah.
And actually, we were talking about, I totally forgot this about you. And so Kyle brought it up, but I forgot that you used to play rock music back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, at any point I could just flip right back into it. But,
So
you still enjoy doing that?
but you guys all have had your rock phases, right? Where
We still in it.
Not John.
more or less.
Yeah.
I mean, I like rock music, but I never played. I didn't get into it like how. All I'm saying is that you can play pretty much any genre style of music, and play it pretty well.
So when you perform, do you mix it up right now, or are you currently just doing what you're doing now? Where you do something throw in a pro jam song or something, or how does that work now?
I combine production elements with song repertoire. Basically, that's my I guess you could say bread and butter secret. It's all about, for me, trying to give them the best experience that I can with the knowledge that I have. So let's say I know a bunch of like rock songs, right, that I've played in the past, and I know these people are susceptible to the effect of the rock. So then I say, okay, that's going to give it's going to give them an experience that they won't forget, and that's what I'm kind of shooting for.
So you change it up according to the audience.
I change it up almost in real time.
Which makes
awesome.
sense because well, first of all, hold on. I'm gonna move this a little closer, dude.
Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry. Signal.
Yeah, because you play a lot of gigs. You've won awards for like best wedding guy around or whatever. I don't know what it's called.
I'm going to clarify that award. So anyone can really win that award, but what happens is, like, if you have wedding couples and they truly appreciated what you did, they will go on there. They'll go on there and onto the sites, and they'll actually give you compliments and reviews. Now, there are a lot of people that suck the reviews out of the clientele, and they actually kind of guide them toward positivity. But in my experience, I haven't really had to do that. I might just say, like, if you feel like giving a review, then feel free, because I'm not one that's like, please give me. So that combined with like word of mouth. I actually didn't get the Best of Weddings award for like 6 years prior to me getting one, and when I was eligible. But the reason I didn't get one was because I was under another wedding vendor, or I just chose to do everything under that wedding vendor. And but I was getting a lot of my own weddings at the same time. So had I done that, I would be like almost 10 years deep in like Best of awards. But as of right now,
explain that there's wedding vendor. So you partner with a vendor so that if people come to them for wedding planning, they recommend you, kind of thing. Is that how that? Yeah, I've never really done the wedding circuit, so I don't.
It's super unique for me. Like I deal with almost like 70 different coordinators.
Oh, yeah.
I've never really like done I'm going to sign up under this one person and I'm going to go for it that way. I always just it was all word of mouth. And then I play another wedding. That person might like it, and then they'll call me up. And then I play another wedding, do a wedding, get a thing, do a wedding, get a thing, do a wedding, get a thing. And that's how it happened. And I know a lot of the coordinators out there simply because of that. And 90% or more, actually, of the wedding coordinators I've dealt with really earn their job, and they have a passion for it, and they're good. And that's how I have been able to stay in it.
So is that the majority of your performances now, is at these banquets, functions, and weddings? Is that where you're usually at now? We can find you there, or do you have a steady gig somewhere that we can check you out at?
Yeah, I mean that's that. There's no easy answer to that. I do gigs, steady gigs, and then I have weddings. I do events. I do private things. I do concerts. I'm on the Slack Key tour.
He does everything. Yeah. Okay. How's that been, being on the Slack Key tour?
Dude, that is crazy awesome. Okay, I was gonna do like a skit with these glasses, but
It's too late already.
I've expired the time limit already. So what was the question?
How's the Slack Key tour?
Slack Key tour is great, man. I've learned so much from all of those guys, and I can't thank them enough for those experiences, musically and then as people too. Like, I only get a few minutes with them.
Is that with Milton?
With Milton, yeah.
Yeah, Milton Lau.
Explain the Slack Key tour, because people who are listening don't know what that is.
So Milton Lau, I don't know the real history about it, but I know that back in the day he started the Slack Key Festival here in Honolulu, and that became a big event that would happen every year. And then they started doing neighbor islands, and then now they've expanded it so that they take the Slack Key guys, I wouldn't say nationwide, but I mean, they take him up to the mainland and do shows and whatnot. And I think the nice thing about Slack Key is that it's, it's very universal. The guitar and the playing is very different than most. In fact, I'll tell a story. I know that Makana, the Slack Key artist, right? He's my age, so I knew him from when we were in high school, and at one point he was really into like this new age open string tuning stuff. Yeah. He had this phase of that, and then he would tour like with all these open tuning type guys that would play these crazy guitar stuff, and then one day we were talking. He's like, John, man, I was backpacking through Europe doing these shows. Like, he would just go to Europe and just have a backpack full of CDs and just sell them and just try to make his way. And he's like, and the one thing that's so unique with us is the Slack Key, because everybody can play really well, all these like open tuning type of things, but he's like, you play Slack Key, people are like, whoa, what is that?
You have to explain again. What is open tuning?
So open
tuning was Slack Key.
No, Slack Key is really a style of playing. In my definition, I don't know. Everybody has their own definition of Slack Key, but open tuning just means that you're tuning the guitar to a chord. Well, every guitar is technically tuned to a chord, even if it's your standard tuning. But a chord that you can play without holding anything down. So there's like A tuning, D tuning, C tuning, G
F
tuning. Yeah, and then from there everyone does their own style, but Slack Key has this specific type of sound and feel to it that the Hawaiians invented, because they never, the Paniolos came, the Spanish Paniolos came, they brought the guitar, then they left, only had so many guitars, right? So the Hawaiians figured out how to play the bass line and the melody on the same guitar, and that became kind of the style of Slack Key.
Okay.
Versus, the Paniolos had the bass guitar, and then they'd have a guy playing the up high part leads. So
so the Slack Key was invented so that they could play
be a one-man
band.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of like out of necessity kind of thing.
Interesting.
And they got so good at it. And then if I could contribute one line to that, there was a thing. My dad was talking to Gabby Pahinui, and Gabby told him that one of the licks that was in one of his best songs actually came from a Led Zeppelin lick from was it Jimmy Page? Yeah. So, and then
really,
yeah.
Do you remember that song?
Dad can tell you, but I can't remember it off top of my head. I don't know.
By the way, man, I seen your dad at Kahala Mall the other day.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why he's like known as an ambassador. Because you just pass by.
His dad is Kamuela Kahoano, by the way.
Yeah. Kamala's dad, Kamuela Kahoano. But normally
John keeps making all these references. I'm like, dude, explain references, man. Explain references.
But normally you pass somebody in the mall and you go like, hey, how's it? And you walk by. He gives the how's it? Like with the shakas and everything,
Is he like that at home?
Okay, so you have two modes, right? You have daddy mode, and then you have Kamuela Kahoano mode, and I got to experience both in the same household. When was he Kamuela Kahoano mode? When he was having fun. Mm-hmm. So whenever we maybe go play basketball, if we sink a shot, he's Kamuela Kahoano entertainer. Yeah. If I have trouble with my homework, it's a different person altogether. Yeah. Well. No, not really. He still tries to make it fun at first, and then when it gets frustrating, he's like, why do they have these problems for 4-year-olds? Or something like first graders. And then he's like, because it didn't happen much, but when he couldn't get an answer because the book, it was like a trick question or whatever, and then we'd look in the back of the book, and he'd be like, no, actually, back then, they didn't have the answers in the back of the book.
Yeah.
So... yeah, we spent all night, and he was just so frustrated. And I didn't know why, because I was just a son in the household, right? I didn't know that he had 5 gigs to do the next day that he was prepping for, and come on, son, get it, son. gotta get back to this.
That's nice.
I do that
he
now.
spent that time with you.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, and him and my mom, they both.
Yeah.
Did you grow up next to Ala Moana Center Stage, just watching all these entertainers go?
Funny you should say that. One of the only primary memories I have of when I was 8 or 9 years old was when, not 2 or 3, 8 or 9. But it was him playing the song by Paul Simon. What was that song? Man walks down the street in a strange world.
Oh yeah.
You can call me Al.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who was on bass?
He
but,
was playing that song.
he was singing it.
Really?
And Frank De Lima was like the other act.
Oh, interesting.
Really? Whoa! I had no idea.
Yeah. So and Frank had his band, right?
Yeah.
So it was like it wasn't just Frank. Like he had his whole show, his whole shtick going, and it was awesome, man. So many laughs. Even when I was a kid, I just the way that he says it, like it comes across as funny.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad would be on the I don't know if he went first or last, but I remember who I can't think of his name right now, but he played bass back then, but he plays guitar with everyone now. Left-handed player.
Oh, Jack Ofoya?
Jack Ofoya.
Yeah.
So Jack, I have great respect for because when he was young and he was like this debonair, handsome dude, he was on the bass and he's like, every time that riff would come up, I go like, and he'd be like, and the slide at the end was always like, and I was like, whoa, I want to do what that guy does.
That's Jack.
Yeah.
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 So it was the combo of like Dad, Uncle Dennis Kamakahi, Jack Ofoya, the countless others, Willie K. I went backstage one time when I was a kid and it was like second birthday bash. And who is sitting there but this giant man? I was like, who's that? And then he's like, oh, that's Israel Kamakawiwo'ole and that's the Makaha Sons and they're going to play tonight. And I think that same night was Willie K.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then he takes me out on the stage. And I'm like, no. He's like, son, get out over here. I get out there. I look in the crowd. It's just this blinding, like, 9,000 people. Just like, and then he's like, do what you do at home. So what do you mean do what I do at home? He's like, do that thing you do at home. So I start doing a moonwalk across the stage. And then everybody's like, whoa! And then I was like, I want that feeling. And, yeah. And,
I was
and
actually there at that birthday bash.
So do you
Really?
remember me doing that?
I do not, but the birthday bashes were always a blur. Sorry, again, backstory. When we worked at when FM 100 was first beginning as a radio station, I worked there along with your father.
Wow.
And the birthday bashes would happen, and your dad would have to get up there and MC, and so he would have you guys there and make you guys do stuff because. You know, it's all about embarrassing your kids. But I mean, that was the heyday of those things happening because you would see these amazing performances, you know, one of a kind performances happening on that stage, and it was this huge collection of people. The part that was weird about Birthday Bash was you had like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Every group had like 2 songs.
The best part
oh,
of it was
wow.
backstage.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Everybody's
For
hanging
sure.
out back there eating and cruising
Yeah.
was the best
Yeah.
part.
But
Devin, can you get a little bit more up on the mic?
Yeah.
Thanks, sure.
But you know, I wanted to tell you. I should tell your father. But the thing I remember is I learned a lot about emceeing from your dad, right? Because and I think you did too. I think we both did, right? Because your dad has this easy relationship with people that he can create out of thin air. It's like you said, right? When he becomes Kamuela Kahoano, and I had to learn how to do that. And the way I learned it is the way that you learned it when he brought you out on stage. He said, "Boy, do the thing you do," because that's basically what they would do. They'd bring you out on stage, and Randy Hudnall would go, "Okay, go ahead, introduce Manao Company." And I'd go, "What?" And he'd go, "Yeah, just go." And it was exactly like that. But I had a mic, and they said, "You gotta go introduce the next band." And I'd be like, "Are you serious right now?"
This is happening.
Yeah, this is totally happening, and I have to go, and I gotta go do this. All right. And then you look out, and it's a sea of really drunk people, most of whom look like they drove in from Waianae and, you know,
Right.
and Eva Beach and stuff. And I'm like, they're gonna kill me, man.
Right,
If
right.
I screw this up.
But I think I learned from like your dad and from Randy and those guys that, and then you have it as well, that ability to zone in immediately when you get to an audience and go, okay, and you know which ones you respond to immediately, and you hit those guys, and then you morph it. Because I've seen you play live at stuff, and you do that when you play. You play a song, and then you sort of gauge where you're at with the audience, and then he'll shift a little bit, maybe play this song, and then go, oh well, no, okay, we'll adjust a little bit and play that song, and it's why he's so good at what he does. Sorry to.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I'm
it is because you
just
more
trying
than
to take a compliment right now.
no, but I mean, just more than your ability to do that is the thing that makes you special at, because a lot of people are can play a wedding and just play the wedding, right? They just get up there. They have a set of songs that they're gonna do. They do the set of songs and they're done. But because you have such a varied range of things that you can do,
Yeah.
you can get up there and go, I think I'm gonna try a rock song. Maybe I'll try my solo stuff. Maybe I'll do a country song. Maybe, you know what I mean? And you can do it sort of on the fly, which is really difficult to do because every genre still sounds like you. It's just that you sort of, you put your Kamuela spin on it.
What's really crazy is
simple.
that, like, I think if I can add to that, for me, it's almost like every wedding is a concert. And while it's unplanned, and impromptu mostly, the craziest things happen sometimes. Like, I can remember one time the power went out right when I was in the middle of, like, I was singing. I was like, this hit that ice cold Michelle Pfeiffer why go, and I was going through that song, and I was like, don't believe me, just walk, don't believe me, just walk, and then after that, power goes off. I was like, don't believe me, just walk, don't believe me, just walk, and I started walking into the center of the thing, and because no one would be able to hear me otherwise, so it was a tent, and there was all these tables, and then it was like kind of like a dance floor. So acoustically, I went into the thing, all the lights went out too. So I went into the middle of the tent and I just started to like play, and I didn't care what I was playing, didn't matter. And then when I went back, and then I walked kind of back towards the stage, and the guy like lifted up my 1/4 inch, and he's like, it's power's back on. I said, really? And I went, boom, and everything like came back, and like everybody went nuts. And this happened to be like I think it was one of the heads of WeWork.
Oh,
wow.
It was a big
wedding.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was awesome.
So you were raised among all these Hawaiian entertainers and stuff through your dad, but then you pivoted, and your first band or your earlier type of music was rock. So how did you get into that
It's
type of
kind of
music?
too long of a story to like divulge.
that.
Well, okay. So the skinny of it is that me and my brothers were always into music, and I enjoyed a lot of 90s rock because that's when I was kind of coming up. And so we practiced these things at Iolani, sitting outside of the class during free periods or whatever. And, one of the guys I used to actually do that with was MC Shen, who went on to Def Tech. So we would do some of that, like once in a blue moon, like upstairs, and play each other's songs. And then Ikaika was doing that a lot with his classmates. And I hung out more with Ikaika, so it was like the class of 96. And so when I would hang out with them...
year.
So when they would hang out, we'd go into the the band room? No, the choir room. Mr. Armstrong would let us in, and he would let us kind of just develop our stuff. So it was Gerard, Hajmil, Kavika Malama, Ikaika, myself, and Braden Ogata. Okay, wow. I say these names because they are pivotal to how I became interested in music. I didn't even think it was a possibility at first. But I would sit and I would just like write these little things. One of them is actually a symphony I'm trying to finish now, and I'm almost done. And if it gets played by HYS or HSO, then that's the end goal right now, is that symphony I'm working on. But anyways, so I was in the very, very beginnings of those things. And then I would go to like the practice room, I'd play on my own. But then when these guys wanted to form an a cappella group, because you had,
Boys to Men?
When we do, Boys to Men, along together, and we would doom 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 doom.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just necessarily all rock. It was all this 90s
I started
music
out with
then.
R&B, and then I found myself one day at the Esprit nightclub doing a prep show. And this was around the time Bruno was like maybe 2 or 3. And so Johnny Valentine would be playing at Esprit nightclub. There was a whole bunch of other people playing there, and through this guy Gerard, who was from that line of performers, a bunch of guys from Eva Beach, and then they were performing at Esprit nightclub. So he was kind of like the outcast, but he had the best voice out of all of them. So he was in the group, and so he sang all this like trippy high stuff, like singing Mariah Carey stuff. Like, he was unreal. And then you had Ikaika, who had this like high tenor voice, and then Braden Ogata. Should I say this? I don't know if it's okay. So he's in the police force right now, and thing about Braden, he's got one of the lowest voices like most pure low voices you've ever heard. So when we were younger, right? Like he would spit out this like super low and like bassy voice. I was like, oh, bro.
So would he do the talking portion that all those songs had?
On Boys to Men.
Hey, baby.
He did. He
Yeah.
did. I just can't. Why don't you just come back to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always need a guy like that if you have
Yeah,
that
yeah,
band.
yeah.
You got.
Yeah.
I mean, it's required. So we would practice almost every other day for like 2 or 3 hours, and we just go and we go and we go, and then we were like, we're gonna get a record deal, and then Babyface and L.A. Reid, remember those names?
Mm-hmm.
So the idea was that Gerard was supposed to hand it to them with us present. But that's not what happened. He gave L.A. Reid through another source through the thing. One of the songs was this song by Billy Ocean that we were kind of forming an arrangement for. And then we found that exact arrangement on another band that was produced by L.A. Reid
Oh,
maybe a
interesting.
year later. Yeah.
What was your band called back then?
I don't even want to. It's probably so cheesy. It's
Be like
ridiculous.
Hawaiian Silk.
I think it.
Iolani Boys to Men.
Later on, it became NTO, which was not too often. But before that, it was True to You, if I remember correctly.
But with the 2 was a number 2.
And this was when they had like Disguise and Bruno was in
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Was this during the chant era too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Chad,
right?
yeah, and Forte.
Yeah.
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 So all of
Everybody's
that, and they
doing
still
that
had Brown
band.
Bags to Stardom, and
Yeah.
they're kind of on the tail end.
It's good days, man.
Yeah. Oh, but you guys got started in something that was also pivotal. I mean, you talk about learning from musicians. It's my turn now.
Oh, no.
These always
Well,
make John
we didn't even
cringe.
get to finish about the Sly Key Festival.
Yeah, we won't yet. So Pure Heart over there. See that? See that CD over there on the wall? So that was I must have been 18 or 19 or something, maybe even younger, when these guys were just exploding, doing stuff. I mean, that would be what I like to consider like the rock of local music. It was,
We played some rock stuff.
yeah, but it was so made you want to jump, made you want to get up and move, and the way they played. Kyle Crater Boys was right before you guys, and then
Right.
like the next year at Iolani, you guys performed. And do you remember that?
I remember all the Iolani. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Iolani was one of our best. Like, you know what? Because for some reason, we had a really good relationship with the Iolani Jazz Band. They really liked our stuff. So whenever we'd come to Iolani, we'd feel really welcome. Plus, they had an
But I
air-conditioned
don't know
gym.
anybody that didn't really like your stuff. Actually,
yeah.
tell you the
Yep.
truth, but okay.
I mean, you're all humble about it, but like the fact is, a big part of what I've done over the years, is because of you, it's because of Jake, it's because of Lopaka, and both individually and together. So you guys have had a huge impact on me and my career, and it's nice to be able to say this on a podcast.
That's
I'm
cool.
gonna edit it out.
So yeah, I mean, we can spend more time on this if you like.
No, it's okay. We can talk about other things. But yeah, okay. So I want. So one of the things I did want to touch on is all your styles of music, because you play basically everything. Interestingly enough, you play left-handed upside down too, like Alex Kawakami.
That's
You guys
right.
Are left-handed upside down brothers.
I'm going to give credit where credit's due. I think Alex has a much cleaner sound than me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't really.
Started out there. You're welcome.
But was it hard to pick up like that, or
How
was
did you
it
learn that?
Yeah.
Well, when you start, you can't really stop. Like I tried to flip it and then play more than words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody tries, right?
Took 3 months just to like get boom bap boom bap boom, and the coordination involved is like the coordination was already there, and it was built into the ukulele. So I had played ukulele. Most people don't know that.
Yeah,
but
yeah. You're a ukulele player. Yeah.
I was a ukulele player first for like 10 years. And then I picked up the guitar at 15. So by then, it was like I could only play this way. And then I was like, and then I did this one day. And I was like, I can do it. And I was like, it's possible, even this way. So then I started to try to learn other songs. And there were a bunch of speed bumps along the way where I was like, oh, no, I cannot do that. And I give up. And
No, because there's like, so one of my favorite songs that I hope you'll play with me later is Have You Seen the Sun? It's a song that he wrote.
That'd be awesome.
But I try to play it, but it's hard because the way Kamuela plays, like it's upside down, right? So he's hitting bass notes.
I want to hear how you
in a
play that,
different-
dog.
in a different way than I would, you know. And I'm trying to like emulate his style, but it's hard
Because
because
there really isn't no upside down left-handed teaching out there. Like you can't. How do you figure out the chords and stuff?
Oh yeah, okay. Thanks.
So let's see them.
So that's
try to work this out.
that's the first riff. So how do you play that one? Because I don't even know how I play this one.
I don't even know what I do, but hey, by the way, did you see? I'll tell you this too. Extreme came out with a new single
Did they?
Really?
after like 30 years. Yeah, and Nuno Betancourt,
Oh, he can.
dude, it is insane. So I was watching Rick Beato,
Yeah.
and then he was talking about he was the one who brought it up on YouTube. Rick Beato, shout out, and he's like, people were calling me about you got to see this lick that he's doing and his solo and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I'll watch this, and I'm watching like, holy poop, like that is
Holy poop.
that is next level
He
stuff.
didn't
Like,
age either. He looks the
No,
same.
he I saw him do he did Barracuda. It was him and Nancy Wilson and Taylor Hawkins was on drums, and they were playing separately. Yeah, that whole separately together thing, and they put it all together. Dude, he just like, he
Makes
still
you
got
just
his
sit there and go,
chops.
"Huh."
Yeah, just sit there going, yeah,
That's
okay,
a freak,
yeah.
man, that guy.
It was fantastic,
Yeah.
man. It was fantastic.
yeah. So I mean,
Okay.
yeah. If you get a chance, we'll
Okay.
play. I can't play it now because we'll get hit with a copyright
Yeah.
if we put it up. But
Yeah.
after this, I'll play it for you. It's ridiculous.
Okay. Well, let's see you guys figure this out.
G, right?
Yep.
So
I'll,
yeah.
I'll keep it one up.
So yeah, like, mine is very John-esque sound. Is like,
See, that already sounds better to me.
no.
But I'll
Okay,
add to it.
So then
Okay.
he does. So then you do what?
No, just keep going. So ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
All right. Actually, I should move my thing down here. I'm picking up the guitar, but yeah.
That
So
sounds neat.
That was cool.
it's a song that Kamu wrote. I just love this freaking song, man. Like, he did it on our High Session show, and I'm like, man, this thing's gotta. And yeah, people watch it. And we featured it on our album that we released, and it's so good. And you have it on your album too.
That's right.
You're-
Well, the version I tried to make was hurried, and if I could, I'd totally redo it. I'd go back to the version that we did on High Sessions. And
So laid back, yeah.
What is that song about?
it was about a lot of things, and a lot of my songs have to do with losing loved ones. You know, I hate to say that, but it's true. Like every time there's some kind of loss in your life or something, I always like the way to find that way back is always the song. And so Live Your Life was made like that. Although Glide wasn't made like that. That's like one of my most famous songs.
Yeah, we should talk about that. So you're a songwriter as well, and so you write about interesting things, like interesting stuff. You have Grumpy.
Yeah, Grumpy's one of my
Just
favorite
a-
songs.
Yeah.
I like Grumpy too.
So I mean, it's just like,
I
where
can't
do you
allude to that.
come up with? You just it's just life experiences.
Yeah, I mean, my girlfriend at the time was sitting across the table, and she looks at me. She's got this look on her face, like this look right there.
Oh, we get that all the time.
And then I was like, I knew I was in trouble, but you know, I was also 22 or 23, right? And I was like, so what? Like, what's your problem? You know, I thought I did everything right today. And then she just looks. She goes, "I'm grumpy. It's your fault." And I was like, okay. And I think it was because I was leaving for the Big Island. That was my first time to the Merry Monarch since I was 3.
Oh.
And so I get there, and Skylark has me in for an interview. On the plane, I wrote the song, "She's Grumpy, It's My Fault."
Wow.
Just from the time I left that breakfast, got on the plane, Hawaiian Air, by the way, so only like 40 minutes went by.
Yeah.
And then I just went through, and I just started like saying my thoughts. So it's just my thoughts rolling out line after line.
You had a guitar or ukulele with you on the flight over? Or you...
No, I just kind of like, I had my ukulele, but I was just kind of like, I didn't do this the whole time. But I was like, if I was to... I tried to be her one and only, because I was feeling like I tried to be a great guy. I tried to do a special something, and then I was like, I'll throw in a stinger. And I'd still like get that stinky eye. Oh my. I'm at the and then I was like, I'll throw in some more zingers. I'm at the mercy of some hormones. Hormones. Guess which one is acting up now? And sometimes the weather might affect her, as in, no, I'm hot, don't touch me not now. She says, no, take a shower. Because that's what she used to tell me, like, don't touch me until you take a shower. So you could say that she wrote the song.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know,
Does she get credit for it on the...
her name was Ayako Utahara, and I always give her credit for that song because she, she was the inspiration behind it, and she was full Japanese, so that's why I say I'm grumpy. It's your fault. It's your fault. I'm grumpy. It's your fault. And then other girls like from the mainland, I guess it's close enough to English, so they were like, I'm grumpy. It's his fault. Mm-hmm. They're like getting into it. Yeah, screw him.
I know we usually play towards the end, but
Yeah.
that song that you guys are working on just now,
can we do some?
Can you do that song?
Sure.
Okay, I gotta figure out the level stuff.
Okay.
So you play the main thing. I'm gonna.
So heads up, I've been singing in 2 or 3 hours for the past like 6 months, so like a day. So my voice is a little. Never mind.
Sorry, it
can
has
take that out if
character.
you want.
It has character, bro. It has character.
Yeah, I know what Bobby would say to that. Nah, Kamu. What you talking about? Cobra. Okay. Shout out to Bobby Madero. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Have you seen the sun? It shine on everyone, even when you're not looking. 'Cause you can seize the day when let the sunlight shine your way every day. Take it, John. Your turn. Second verse.
Oh.
Have you felt the rain?
Have you felt the rain? It gets on everything. Dampens up your day. If you still believe, oh, the sunlight gonna shine on me. Eventually.
Yeah. Oh, gotta believe sun come back again, my friend.
There ain't no rain.
There ain't gonna be no sun again.
Sorry, I was gonna try to harmonize
Gotta
with
be
you.
like my friend. Hey. So have you seen the sun shine on everyone, even when you're not looking? seize the day when there's sunlight shining your way. Every day, every day, every day, every day. Oh, oh, oh.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
I told
That
you
was a beautiful song.
That's a bomb ass song.
Yeah.
Man.
It's better when he plays it too.
Oh, I screwed up. I'm sorry. I was gonna try harmonize with you, and then it's okay. It's alright.
Yeah, that's like
You-
me and my
you
brother
took-
harmonizing. Like,
You told me you wrote that like thinking of like John Cruz. Like, what would John Cruz sing? And then you tried to write a song in his style. And
Oh,
it was
really?
through his portal, I guess you could
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's such a cool.
That's a cool song, man.
So such a good songwriter. So yeah, you travel a lot to record and stuff. You don't always record in Hawaii, right?
So it started because at the time, my eldest brother's wife, her father, she kind of discovered that he was a very famous songwriter. That's another story, but
She discovered it.
yeah. But then come to find out, so that discovery was what was his name? Hank Williams Jr. So he was his band.
What was his name? Hank Williams Jr. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, but that's not his name. His name is Bo Roberts.
Okay.
And very famous in Pensacola, Florida, and pretty much the Key West area and Nashville too. But Bo Roberts, so he was his band manager, Hank Williams, and very famous on in those circles at the time. And then, he traveled around the world. He did his thing. But when he found out that she had a brother-in-law that was musical, and he was visiting her here in Hawaii, then he heard me play. And the first thing, almost the whole time I was performing, he just kind of looked at me like, And then he comes up to me at the end and he's like, you need to come down to Pensacola, Florida, and to the Floribama. There's a festival called the Frank Brown Songwriters Festival, and you need to attend this because you need to plug some of those gaps, and then I think you'll be okay. So I went.
Wow.
Yeah, I went, and I forget the drink that I had every night over there, but that was definitely part of it. What were they called?
Mind erasers.
Something like that. But yeah, they'll tell you. But it's at the Floribama, and I heard some Wayne Carson, the guy who wrote "You're Always on My Mind," and he plays it better than anyone, Willie or anyone else that did it. Wayne Carson was a lost treasure. He just shows up. He's just an unassuming guy. He starts playing "You're Always on My Mind," but the voice leading that he was playing on his guitar, not one small error. Like it was like watching Jake on guitar, but with this like stunning vocal too, and it blew me away. And I was like, so this guy who could have been super famous sold his songs to a record company or wrote them for this publishing company. Said publishing company made all the money, the record company. And he probably didn't get much and probably not a lot of clout too, because people thought that Willie Nelson wrote that song.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
I thought he wrote that song.
Yeah. So that was where I
It
learned
happens
that.
a lot actually on popular music. And
Totally,
stuff.
yeah. And especially if you got like nine
By the way,
writers.
Devin, you have a heart out, yeah?
Yeah, that's okay.
You
But
got it, man?
I was curious, when he said gaps, what did he say specifically what he meant?
Oh, he knew exactly what I missed and what
Really?
would make me stronger. Yeah, because he's an amazing songwriter. He's better than me.
So he was listening to your original stuff and going, well, if you did this differently, maybe.
If you met these
Close.
people and you try to and you kind of learn what they're doing, then maybe you'll understand how to recreate that in your own repertoire.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think when you get that kind of feedback from especially like seasoned musicians, they're not trying to be dicks, you know.
Yeah.
They're trying to help.
Trying to help you.
If they didn't think you were good enough or had talent, they just wouldn't say anything. They just go like, "Oh yeah, that's great.
Good job."
Yeah, good.
Keep trucking.
But the fact that they're trying to, they can see the path that you're blind to because you haven't gone down it yet,
Mhm.
right? So they're like, "Oh, just try this," and then hopefully put you on that right.
It did, man. And then with that foundation, I went to Nashville like 6 times. I met the head of Warner Brothers. Forget his name right now, John Esposito. And I met him at a wedding on the North Shore.
Oh,
And he's
wow.
like, hey, I want you to come to Warner Brothers. I handle, what's the guy that sings, I forget the song. Something about, wanna make you feel wanted. That guy, Hunter Hayes. So he was like, I run Hunter Hayes right now, and I'm producing all his stuff, and I think you would make a great live Beatles album. So I want you to come down to Warner Brothers, and I want you to get involved in stuff. So I go down there. I didn't get his number because I was supposed to catch a Dave Matthews concert in Seattle the very next day, which I paid for all by myself.
By the way, there is a Dave Matthews version of him singing "Me and Julio." No, not me. You Can Call Me Al.
Really?
Yeah. Just the other night I was watching, like, Dave Matthews singing Paul Simon. I think it was from some kind of Paul Simon event.
Oh, I'd love to hear that with his full
Yeah,
band.
so
I can
that's
see
another
him
one.
singing that.
Man walks down the
Yeah.
street, like with his
Yeah.
Dave vibe.
Yeah. It was
Totally.
pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I
Sorry,
can
sorry
hear
to
it now.
call that back, but okay.
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers guy.
So it was at the Gorge, and then I wanted to go to this concert so bad because if you've ever been to the Gorge, it's like one of the best concert settings ever.
Oh.
So this guy comes up to me, and the girl that was on his arm, after he's told me all those things, right? Then the girl looks at me, she goes, "He's the real effing deal," and she walks away. And then I was like, I was like, maybe I should get his number, or maybe I shouldn't, but I gotta go now because I had to be at the airport in 2 hours, and I was at Lanikuhonua. No, not Lanikuhonua. I was further. I was at what is it, Lo'ula Palms.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I was just breaking down my stuff. I ran out. I didn't get his number. I show up in Nashville with my mom at Warner Brothers, and the security guard won't let us in. Yeah. That was one of the most gut-wrenching moments of my life. I've had maybe about like 10 of those. But it was one of those moments where no matter how old you are, you walk back to the car and you have a few tears with your mom. Thank God she was there. Because she was the most soft landing pad that I would have had, and not that I couldn't have got, I was a big boy, but it was more like, thank goodness my mom is here because we could just go eat.
Yeah. and in retrospect, when you look at it years later, like, these things happen for a reason.
That's right. Yeah.
So I thought when you brought up Warner Brothers, you're going to talk about the DC universe, but that's for another podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna do a geek out. We're gonna do a geek out pod with Kamu, and then Kyle won't have to be here
Yeah.
because we'll bore you all with every single bit of
Well, we didn't even get
geekdom.
Well,
He's gonna have to come back because I do have to go. But
I wanted to talk about Garbage Pail Kids. I didn't even realize the Garbage Pail Kids still existed, let alone their collector's items and stuff like that. Man, maybe we'll touch on that. You don't have to stick on for that. So we'll let you go.
Okay.
Thanks, Devin, for
Thank you,
stopping
Devin.
by.
Gotta go pick up my son again.
Yeah. Hey, family first, man. It's all good.
Yeah,
It's all good.
I probably have to do the same way. Let me check. Let me check. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
No, but I don't have to be there until 3:15, and I just gotta go over
Well,
the
you
clock.
get
time.
to.
So we'll finish this out.
You gotta dig down though.
You're
Yeah.
gonna be talking and playing more.
You don't wanna be FOMO and miss out on anything too. So you'll make Dylan
yeah.
wait.
Well, I figure we got about 15 more minutes.
Okay, I can't go that long.
Yeah. All right. So
All
I
right.
figured this is a good one. Latest.
Right on, Devin.
Love you, sir.
Thank you. Same.
Keep up the great work.
I you said some wonderful things, and I appreciate that.
they're all true.
Gee. Thanks, man.
Oh, we didn't even talk about your car.
I know. Well, we can talk about that when he's not here.
Somebody
okay.
broke into my car.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
And stole a bunch of stuff.
We'll bring it up.
Assholes.
We'll bring it up next week.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about it
Yeah.
next week. Yeah, we'll be here next week.
Totally random. I'm gonna forget by then.
It's
Anyway, have
Some
fun
people,
with-
and then we got to go back to that. Everything happens for a reason. Comment.
Get there.
Yeah, man. In this 2 weeks, it's just been nuts. I don't know about everyone else out there, but it's funny. I have a client who's a nurse here in Honolulu, and he was saying how busy he is. I was like, well, what's been busy, But But one of the things he said is like people are just hurting themselves because now like it's like game on. Like I can leave the house, and so people are like going outdoors and running around and falling and bumping into things. You know,
And
like
pickleball.
pickleball. You know, like all that kind of stuff. So it's so yeah, it's life is getting back to normal, I guess.
Pickleball is a new snowboarding. Remember when that was big in Hawaii and everybody come back with a broken arm, broken leg?
What is pickleball? What is that?
It's
I'm
it's
not
like
in the know on it.
it's
between ping pong and tennis.
yes, it's
right?
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It's between ping pong and tennis. It's played on a tennis court, but the thing is smaller, and then it's like ping pong. I mean, just basically hitting a ball back and forth with a paddle that looks like a large ping pong paddle.
So more of the movement, less of the table.
Yeah.
Shortened field, yeah.
Yeah, and I can imagine. Like I always tell people, when I was growing up, at one point in my life, we had a ping pong table in the house, and at one point we had a pool table. Now everybody thinks pool as a cooler sport. You know, like people hang out, they play pool and stuff like that. But ping pong, man, is exciting and competitive, and people get into it, and it is so much fun.
Next
like, you know,
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still not the coolest sport than pool, though.
yeah, cool. Pool is a cooler sport, but as far as like energy level and getting psyched about something,
And exercise, if you had to.
Oh, dude, yeah, we would have some epic ping pong battles at my house. It was like, you know, so I can see why pickleball would be fun because it's basically ping pong with a larger paddle, you know, like, and you're moving a little bit more than you would ping pong.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, if you don't want to play tennis, you should probably play pickleball.
Yeah.
And if you want to play ping pong, pickleball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's on the horizon for you now? What are you planning? What are you up to? Well, you got your symphony that you're writing.
Yeah. So I actually wrote that symphony when I was like 8, continued it when I was like 12, had it read by the Honolulu Symphony because we had free readings when we were in college.
Oh, okay.
So I was one of the students, and they read my piece. And at the time, it was only about 30 seconds, maybe a little longer than maybe about a minute. And I just kind of shelved it. And then I lived in like 5 different residences between the time I didn't look at it and the time I opened it up again. And then in my house recently, I opened it up. And this guy, his name is Christopher Tin. Shout out to Christopher Tin. An amazing orchestrator. But I just stumbled on his stuff on Instagram, and it's a song called Waloyo Yamoni, and I'm guessing that's African.
Oh, okay.
So, but he has the London, I don't know if it was London Symphony Orchestra or somebody asked him if they could play it and sing it. So they brought in the choir and they had him do his piece. It's always going to be one of my favorites, and it sounds like Disney meets classical like. Elements that matter, kind of thing. Elements that move you, and that's very much right up my alley. I mean, that's what I was doing even when I was a kid. Simplest things, and so recently I had the tools to look at it again and say, you know what, I'm going to finish this because the publishing on these things is actually really good. If you get your piece played, let's say you write a piece and a high school somewhere in the U.S. decides to play it, they have to pay a royalty fee for that. If they pay the royalty fee, is something like $500, which every high school can handle, right? So let's say you have that piece. Easy enough for the high school to play, easy enough for colleges to play. And maybe it's a good enough piece so that classical orchestras would want to play it as well. So now you're kind of like in that vein. And without getting too much into it, I just said, you know, this could be a classic. And I mean, back when I had it read, Neil Mackay pulled me aside and he's like, you have to finish this. Like, you have to do this.
So let's get this in perspective. You're listening to Boyz II Men, right? And doing that R&B stuff. Then you're 90s rock, alternative music. And at the same time, you wrote a symphony piece. Is that how it goes in order? Or
yeah, well,
all that all at once?
It was a lot more than that. But yeah, like 3 Doors Down, and then everything from like Booty Sweat. No, I'm just kidding.
Tropic Thunder, man.
But what is it?
Movie.
The guy, the G-string guy. What is his name?
Alan?
No.
Cisco.
Cisco. Yeah.
I thought
That's Derek.
Derek.
Yeah, Derek.
Dong, 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 dong.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So those all those songs. Oh, and the other thing too was Ikaika was starting to get popular, right? So he was doing a random show at I think what is now either Indirect or some other business, but back then it was Locomotion, and so he was doing a radio show with my dad in the morning, and he was looking kind of good. So then he went to this audition. Well, lo and behold, he killed the Star Spangled Banner, like killed it. He's like like doing all these runs and stuff, and Lou Pearlman's like this.
Oh,
Like, yeah. I mean, I won't get into the rest of that story, but like, he won the audition, and their whole thing was they'll go through this audition of guys going to like the mainland the whole thing was they wanted Ikaika, period. That was it. And then they were going to get supporting guys around Ikaika. That was the whole thing. So not spend too much time on Ikaika, but he did a wonderful job, and he was very inspiring. And so like I started to get into boy band stuff. You know, and since we were singing before that, with like Boyz II Men and this and that. But a really funny memory. I sang that once at Iolani when I was in 9th grade. It was on Bended Knee. And it was the ending part, the last one. Don't you know that the perfect life, whatever the lyrics are. And as I'm singing it, my counselor comes up to me. She snatches the microphone from my hand, and she's like, that's enough. Because it was that bad. I was a terrible singer.
Really?
Yeah. I was bad. I even went on the radio one time. Well, I'm not even going to talk about that, but because there's more to the story than that. But let's just say that I learned a lot from the things I couldn't do. You know?
Yeah, you try everything, and you come back to what your bread and butter is.
Yeah.
I would like to hear that your usual question at the end of every podcast. How vast
I was
of a
gonna
choice is
do
be,
it. So we're at this point.
All right.
So, Kamu,
Yep.
if you were stranded on a desert island for the rest of time, you could only take 3 albums with you to listen to forever. What would those 3 albums be?
Michael Jackson, Thriller.
That's good
one.
choice. Yeah.
Dave Matthews Band, Under the Table and Dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
And,
This is very, very different.
Yeah.
And I only like one song from and it's not that I only like one song. I love all his stuff. But the one song I would have to have with me. And this is above U2 and above Coldplay, which were my main influences growing up. It was Peter Gabriel, In Your Eyes.
Oh, yeah.
That's a heavy song.
Yeah. So that's the jam I would need. So I you like the one song, you got to buy the whole CD, right?
Yeah,
that was the game back then.
Yeah.
So
right.
that I would buy
It
that
doesn't
whole
just
CD.
cost 99 cents like how the kids have it nowadays. Buy one song.
I know.
Yeah.
Kids are so spoiled nowadays. They don't even have to pay 99 cents.
I know, now it's free. Well, not free, but
It's just whatever.
yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we take us off with one more song?
Okay.
We'll do the Tracks of My Tears.
Oh, I like that song.
All right. Send this out to Lei and Mai. We played their concert the other week. So much fun. Okay. People say I'm the life of the party 'cause I tell a joke or two. Although I might be laughing loud and hearty, deep inside I'm blue. Take a good look at my face. You'll see that my smile looks out of place. If you get closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my tears. Well, since you left me, if you see me with another girl, looking like I'm having fun, Although she might be cute, she's just a substitute because you're the permanent one. Take a good look at my face. You'll see that my smile looks out of place. If you get closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my teeth. Whoa, whoa, I need you. Just F and C. Need you. Just F and C stuff. Outside, I'm masquerading. Inside, my heart is aching. Just a clown. Since you let me down, my smile is my makeup I wear since my breakup with you. Baby, take a good look at my face. You'll see that my smile looks out of place. If you get closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my teeth. One time. Baby, take a good look at my face. You'll see that my smile looks out of place. If you get closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my teeth. Tracks of my teeth. Tracks of my teeth. We're gonna go out here.
Very nice.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Kamuela. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it very
Follows
much.
to all of our patrons. We'll see you next week.
Take
on the
care.
episode.
Aloha, guys.